Okay, so welcome everyone. Today we have the first round of our 2 startup contest pitching sessions. I see there's a lot of people joining the call now. Very good. So yes, we have an amazing 12 startups that, no, 12, wait, I'm losing my mouse now. There we go. So we have an amazing 22 startups created by the EIT Digital Alumni that applied for our startup contest. To be honest with you, this was a big surprise to us as the majority of these submissions came in over the last weekend. So we had to be a little bit creative in scheduling the pitching sessions. All the companies that are pitching, though, should be informed that there was a slight change of plans, and we have 2 sessions now in which pitches will take place. So join us again next week as well to make sure that you hear the other half. Today, the 30th of June, we have 10 pitches that are going to take place. They are from the following companies. So we have Build.ai, Citycharge, ELLURE, Embneusys, fingerlemon, Gluebus, ID21, InSignum, SpotYet, and Construqt presenting in this order. And they will all have 5 minutes to pitch, not more. I will make sure to interrupt people if they exceed the 5 minutes. And then we have a 5 minutes Q&A afterwards. It's important to know that we have quite a knowledgeable jury here, so we try to favor them, no hiding in that. So the first 2 questions that can be asked to the pitching companies will be from the jury. And then if there is time left within the 5-minute Q&A slot, we'll take some questions from the audience as well. It's important that you write your question in the chat, and then Jose Carlos will go through them and pick the best question of all to ask to our companies. So that's how that's going to work. In terms of the jury, we're very happy to introduce you to 5 very different people that have a good overview on what it means to run a company. We have Hani with us, who is the educational coordinator of the doctoral school and involved in the organization of the summer schools as well. We have Karin, who is the communication lead at EIT Digital, the Netherlands, and also doing a lot of communication for the EIT Digital Academy. Mike is a startup coach in Helsinki and has a lot of experience coaching startups. We have Uti from the EIT Digital Accelerator, who is an expert on the access to market and working on that field. And then last but not least, we have Philips, who is a business developer, also working for the EIT Digital Accelerator. So quite a nice and diverse group of people, I think, to evaluate our startups. They will be evaluating our companies based on a score that is outlined in the website. There's a couple of transparent requirements that they will try to follow. And it's up to the companies to present their best side in this regard. So once more, short recap of the rules of the game. As we are going to be a lot of people in this call, it's important to mute your mic so we can make sure that the presenters can be heard. Disable the camera when you're not speaking. When you are presenting as a startup or talking as a jury member, you're of course welcome to turn on the camera so people can see you as well. And for all the participants in the call, all the people that want to ask questions that are not jury members, it's important to write them in the chat so we can be time efficient with those when going through them. I think that's it for now. That means we're going to start with our first company that is presenting today, which is Build.ai, represented here by Eric. I think you're already in the call. From this moment onwards, you have 5 minutes to present your company. So best of luck. I hope Eric is here, actually. He was before, right?
Yeah, he's in the call.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay,
good luck.
Just getting ready for the technical stuff. Okay. No. I'm looking for my notes. Okay, well, welcome. This is, I'll be presenting Build.ai, which is a virtual reality builder. So, next slide. Okay, So what is Build.ai? We make a real-world building, so an actual building with a crowdsourced design. And it will be a game that people can support. So the building will also be built by funding from the players. So the players will collectively make a design to build a real building, and the whole design and the building planning will be part of the game experience. So you can play in a virtual representation of a real building site. You can control a crane, you can control any of the machines, you can design your building, and then in the end of the first season, we will actually pick the best designs based on scores and popularity, and it will actually be built. So, has anybody played this game before? Having some lag with the slides here. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Does anybody recognize this game? So this game is actually called Factorio. It's a game where you make a base where you mine resources, and you the goal of the game is to make a most efficient pipeline for your base, where you. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit trouble with the technology here. Yeah. So it asks you to optimize a production line to mine and process the perfect amount of resources and unlock a technology tree. The playful visuals are a big part of the success of this game within this genre. So a virtual reality builder is actually aimed at the same type of players who like to play around in an environment where they do some optimization or design and get most efficient with resources as they can. Our competitors include games like Minecraft. People love to play Minecraft. Not just kids. People like to express their creativity in a virtual environment where it's basically limitless. But other people like to actually take these designs and optimize things about them, so like we've seen with Factorio. So in a virtual reality builder, we combine these two types of players. One of them can make the designs, and the other ones can make an actual optimized pipeline to build the design. So how will we score this? The user can share edits to a design for further collaboration with others. The designs will be scored on popularity, structural soundness. There will be a full physics simulator running in the background, checking if your building can actually be built. You also need to think about material costs and labor costs. So it's not only part of the design, but the design will be scored on material and labor costs. So the people that like to optimize, they can make actions. They can automate tools like the crane you see in the bottom there, or any kind of tool or workflow that you can think about. They can optimize the steps, and then they can make a planning for the whole design. So people who like to plan, they can optimize material sourcing. They can select the best action plan to minimize the material and labor cost to actually make a design. Many designs will be uploaded, and so in the end, of the first season, we will select the best designs and actually build those. Next slide, yeah. So the plan that gets the best score within the budget that we finally raise, and which has the support of the stakeholders, will be built by a combination of automated and manual labor. Depending on the action that made it into the design, a tool may be ordered or modified to do the action. One of the game modes challenges people to make actions for all kinds of tools. The goal is to provide them with an environment where they can create a sequence of inputs that my real builders can perform on the building site. So this was a pitch. Not sure if I reached the 5 minutes. I had some technical difficulties.
Thank you very much
for your attention. And the next version of this game might include a full city builder mode.
Thanks a lot, Eric, for the pitch. I gave you 30 seconds more because of all the annoying pop-ups that were there in the beginning of your presentation. Unfortunately, we cannot disable those, but I hope for now they will be less because most of the people already joined the call. So yes, as said, I would like to give the floor to the jury first to ask some questions.
Thank you.
Feel free to just speak up.
Do we speak up or do we just put them on the chat?
For the jury, you can go ahead and ask them if you want. I already see a question from Uti there appearing in the chat.
I just put a question about how do you monetize? What kind of revenue streams are you going to have for this game?
So the basic idea is to have a free-to-play game that everybody can build basic things with, but if they want to collaborate on bigger projects, they can buy designs from other players. They can buy actions from other players that other players might sell. So other players can make money as well. And a part of that money goes to the fund that will actually fund the building and also which will fund the company.
So sorry, it's not clear to me. How do you actually make money then as a business?
So the money will come from people can buy actions that will make their
sort of in-game purchasing.
Yes, in-game purchasing, microtransactions. So they can, if they want their design to make a certain level of how feasible it is. Mm-hmm. They can buy actions from other players that will get their score higher, so it's more feasible to actually being built. And there will be many leaderboards for different categories. And in the end, it's a goal that at least one of the designs will be converted to a real building.
And are you competing with Minecraft, or would you want to collaborate with them?
Well, collaboration would be nice. The design part of Minecraft is what we're also looking at. So we hope that people who like to play Minecraft and make very nice worlds there in the simple environment that you can make designs in there will also like to play this game. So people who like to make building designs like in The Sims or in Minecraft, they are a target segment who will make the designs. And people who like to play optimization games like city builders or strategy games, they will be our target segment for the action and planning part of the game.
Okay, so let's take one more question from the jury. I see there is Uti that asked something already in the chat, and Karen as well. One of you would want to ask it in person?
Yeah, sure. Maybe Uti is first.
Okay, yes. So yeah, hi, this is Uti. Yeah, I was going to ask about your target player segment. You already mentioned that those people who play strategy games and so on.
Yeah, thank you. So also someone is asking about sustainability tools. Yeah, this can definitely be a part of the scoring. How sustainable is the material sourcing? How sustainable is the building? That's a good idea. Thank you.
Okay, I see that you with that already answered the question from the audience. That's good. And there are some questions from Karen left that I think we can answer as well before moving on to the next pitch.
Yeah, I had two questions. I do have more, but what do you see as your USP? Because in the game industry, there are a lot of games and also building games. But I don't know specifically if there are building games. But what do you see as your USP among all the games that where people can build cities or buildings or whatever?
Yeah, I think the USP is that this building, they can dream about how this building will actually become reality. So in The Sims, or if you like to play The Sims, it's very fun to make a nice house, but then you save it and then years later you lose it. But in this game, it can actually be a real building which you can enter and visit later.
You mean you can build the building yourself? You can build it online in this game and then go to an architect to have it built?
The goal is that we build, my company will build the building on an actual building site, a physical building. Yeah, one of the designs will get selected and actually built.
Okay, oh, that's interesting.
Okay, thank you very much for the pitch and for answering the questions from the jury. That wraps it up for this pitch. We'll be moving on to the next presenter now, which is Citycharge. The floor is yours. As before, you have 5 minutes to pitch.
Hello. Can you hear me? I think.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and up online, here's a little background about me. I'm from the 2014 to 2016 in the embedded system track. So today, I would like to present our solutions, Citycharge, to enabling mobility through on-demand phone charging. So as we all know, the phone has become one of the most important parts of your body. If you lack of batteries or Wi-Fi outside, you will feel frustrated. And if you see the future trend about 5G and more applications, such as mobile payment and these short videos like Snapchat, which will consume a lot of power of your phone. Right now, the phone charging solutions is not smart enough. You need to lock your phone in some cabin, and either you will have to take a very big power bank. So we provide solutions with a shared power bank. This share economy is not new. It has been approved in China in past 2 years, and they have a approved business model. If we see the share economy, we have Airbnb, Uber, WeWork, and China has some new business models. Then how can we adapt them to Europe? Here is our product. So actually, we redesigned the share power bank station with a screen version, and then we redesigned the appearance. And we also focus on the in-app and on-screen advertisement. I will better show a video about our product. As you can see, here is our product. You can put the stations in some venues, and then it is actually a touch screen, and then you can put advertisement inside this screen. Right now, we are doing free advertisements for health institute from Sweden to help the promote to clean your hand often to prevent COVID-19. So how can we earn money? Our business model consists mainly 2 parts. The first part is power bank renting. We charge €1 per hour and €5 per day for the maximum. And then mostly we do in-app advertisement and also the screen advertisement. We like to collaborate with different advertising agencies, startups, and local small companies, and also big brands. So about the potential market, we see the advertisement market in Nordics. Nordic is our focus market right now. It's more than 7 billion euro for advertisement, but we are more focused on the digital advertisement and also indoor screen advertisement. And for power bank rental, there will be more than 100 million euro for the Nordic market. Yes, we have some competitors in Nordic countries, like in Sweden and in Norway. What compares us with them is we develop our own fast charge. Our solution is 1.5 times faster than theirs. And also we have advertisement revenue, both inside the app and the screen version. and there's no top players right now in Nordic market right now. Here is our team. We are 4 founders, both located in Oslo and Stockholm, and we have 2 people for mainly for business and 2 for technologies. And we are actually old friends before, so we think this is a good idea to do this in Nordic countries. Right now, we start our company in the last year summer, and we start to build a hardware and the software MVP product. We launched at the beginning of this year in 40 venues in Oslo and Stockholm. We have some attractions as shown in the right side. We have more than 300 users and we have more than 400 usages. So we have on board more than 40 or 50 venues. We receive their feedback. They are very happy. We are provide solutions for these venues. We are also in discussion with 200,000 euro fund in progress. So the next this year and the next year, we are going to expand our platform.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Let's move on to the questions. I already saw there were 2 questions from jury members in the chat, so maybe we can start with a question from Uti. If you, well, I can read out the question as well. It's how long it takes to charge 50% of the battery?
Right now, you can charge the full battery with 1.5 hours.
Okay.
Okay. And have you considered that the whole business model could be advertisement based, or do you really need this extra money?
I think the advertisement will be quite a big part of the revenue. We consider a bit like Google provide search engine, but on the money from advertisement. We see this screen also provide lots of opportunities inside the venue. For example, we have talked to Espresso House, the CIO, and he said we can put some coffee advertisements and we can even order the coffee through this touch screen. So we are in discussion with them right now.
Okay, great idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Then there's also a question from Karin in the chat. Karin, do you want to ask?
Yes, this is what I wondered. When I saw the picture of all the members. Do you know each other from one of the EIT Digital Schools?
No, actually, I'm the only one from EIT Digital, and the Tingyu and Nicole, we are friends in Stockholm, and Sergey, we are friends in Oslo. Yeah.
Okay, and you're a co-founder?
Yeah, 4 of us are co-founders. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. And you have already this product? Did you also use some press strategy already?
Price strategy?
No, press. Did you go to the press? Did you had interviews, for example? Did you go to the journalists, the media?
Not yet. We are in discussion with one small press company. It's called Citycharge in Stockholm.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to their CTO, and they said we have too less number. Mm-hmm. He said after we have several hundreds, we can talk to them. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's then have one question from the audience. Well, in this case, I don't need the help from Jose Carlos because there's only one question from Kevin. Do you have a patent on the technology? He's asking.
Do we have a what?
A
sorry?
Patent on the technology.
A button.
Patent.
Oh, patent. You mean IP?
Sorry, my pronunciation.
Sorry. Yeah, yeah. We have all the software IP and the hardware we build together with the manufacturer, with Chinese manufacturer. So we want to keep all the software IP.
Okay, thanks a lot for the presentation and for answering the questions.
Okay,
we are
thanks.
nicely on track with the time. Good start so far. And we're going to move on to our next pitch from ELLURE. I don't know how to pronounce the name, so we'll probably find out during the pitch as well. As usual, you have 5 minutes, and the floor is yours.
Hello. Let me just put on my share screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, nice. So, hey everyone, thanks for listening. And my name is Cecilia, and I'm here to present ELLURE. So at ELLURE, we're here to create beauty products that are loved by people and the planet. And our first product is a personalized liquid lipstick. This is probably what you see when you go to a beauty store, an overwhelming amount of products. But still, it's very difficult for people to find something that suits them. And the reason is very simple. Not only because we are very different in skin color, undertone, and lip color, but also that as our society develops, mass-produced products already cannot fulfill the diversity of people, and we don't feel that there's a sense of self in the mass-produced product. People are craving for personalization. And although cosmetic industry is trying to catch up, it is very difficult for them to match the diversity of people. And by doing so, they are creating an excessive amount of waste. And at ELLURE, we believe the solution lies in mass personalization. And by doing so, we can democratize customer-made beauty products and set a new standard in the beauty industry. We have been developing this solution for 3 years, since 2017. We met during at student time in KTH. And since then, we have built a web-based AR system where customers can try the color in AR, and a very small-scale production machine that can realize more than 10,000 different colors within 1 minute with the precision of 0.01 gram. And we also have an algorithm that can compose the color the customer designed to their liking. And also over the last year, we have designed and registered a lipstick formulation that is also suitable for automation. For the team, I am Sela, I'm presenting. I met my co-founder Mark during our EIT human-computer interaction study in the Netherlands. And then we moved to Sweden, where we found our other co-founder, Jasmine. I'm now acting as CEO and in charge of business development. Mark is the CTO. He's doing both hardware and software. And Jasmine is responsible for customers and product development. And if you live in Sweden, probably our ads running on Instagram. I'm going to show you. So this is one prize in using data to validate our business potential. We launched this ad with very small fee, almost near to nothing, in March this year, and we already accumulated 500 people on the waiting list, and it's growing every month. And we have been also supported by some of the most prestigious business challenges and the Swedish innovation agency Vinnova. And to be mentioned, last year in November, we were sent to New York by KTH, where we won a 1-year office overseeing Central Park in New York. Lipstick is a very small product, but it has a giant market. Every year, there's 1.5 billion sold, and every second, that's 48. Imagine how big the demand is and how much waste that can produce. Our business model is quite simple. At first, we understand that this is a quite competitive and red ocean market, but we would like to penetrate the market by being a purpose-driven brand. Initially, our plan is to launch both physical and online shops this year, but unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we only will launch the AR web shop actually in 2 weeks. And so this is the go-to-market strategy. And once we have established this business model, made revenue, and proved that our system will work, we will sell also to other other brands. And to scale up, we will also extend to other product offering. So in terms of scalability, we would like to not only expand to nail polish, liquid eyeshadow, eyeliner, basically any liquid cosmetic products, but also geographically to other countries. This is because the setting of our technology is quite simple, and we believe it's quite scalable.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. The time is up.
Very good.
Time for some questions. For those, since there's a lot of people that joined the call later after the introduction, we will, per usual, start with 2 questions from the jury, 2 or 3 questions from the jury, and then there's a chance to cover some questions from the audience that are written in the chat. So if you have questions, write them in the chat. Let's start in this case with a question from Philip from the jury.
Thanks for that presentation, Sela. What about as a non-lipstick wearer myself, how does the quality of the product compare to the leading brands, and how do you compare on value for money, would you say?
Yes, thanks for the question. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So yes, we have bought all the popular brands in the market. We have compared our quality, and I am very confident it's one of the best in terms of durability, the saturation of the color, and also we have used the best top-notch material to produce. We don't have so much cost in the material itself because we don't need to overproduce. So actually, we can put all the money in the best material. In terms of the pricing, we now set it at 300 SEK, that's around 30 euros. Reason being that the perceived quality of a lipstick is actually dependent on its price. And we want to be a bit less expensive than those top-notch brand, can be up to 60 euro, but also a little bit more expensive than the mainstream high street brand, because of the nature of customization.
And the logistics that go with it. So when you have your machines in store, presumably then you have to keep topping up or supplying top-up materials.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
So right now we are designing cartridges to be fulfilled. But those, as you can imagine, one lipstick is 5 grams. If you have a cartridge of, let's say, 200 grams, that can actually last quite long.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one part of the cartridge. And the other part is actually we don't know yet. We didn't try yet how to sell this physically, but our plan was not to put it in stores. Basically, the reason is that in cosmetic industry, you have to do revenue share with your vendors, kind of like shop-in-shop model. And they took quite much. They took quite a big chunk out of your sales. So we are thinking about of a less popular space, but people can actually come and just enjoy the service, because we actually believe that just by being there, we can become the conversation spot. And actually, real estate owners would love us to just be there and just kind of activate the space.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take a question from Mike as well.
Hi, thanks for that. Have you got any sort of patents, or what's the invention that you created behind all of this?
Yes. So we don't have a patent yet. Main reason is we thought over it. We are a small company. We think if this is popular, big companies will follow up. We don't have the money to defend it. And so why do we need to apply for a patent when we're so small? But we actually got some funding secured, so we will do it this next year. We know we have identified the patentability of certain core parts, and right now we are maintaining it as a trade secret. So that's the patent part. But apart from it, we have a lot of trials and errors in the formulation that we produce. That's one of our main know-how in how to automate such a system. Because as you can imagine, the traditional liquid lipstick, they're quite thick. You can't really, how to say, what is it's called this? You cannot really have them in really small quantity accurately. And also, one of our advantages is also the web system that we have built, and also the algorithm, which you cannot have a patent, but it's a proprietary algorithm that we believe nobody else have yet.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we don't have time for any questions from the audience, although there are some interesting ones there that are there for sure. Let's move on to the next presentation. Thank you very much for this pitch and for the questions that you answered. Next up in the presentations is Embneusys. I have no idea how to pronounce this, so please tell us as well. And the floor is yours.
Yeah, George is here. You can call it however you want. If you buy it, we can guarantee you a name. So give me a sec. I hope you can see my screen right now.
Yes, it works.
Perfect. So we are Embneusys, and we bring value to construction and rental companies and their tools. In the construction industry, it's quite often that there is a tremendous loss of equipment that amounts every year to around $1 billion. One of the major problems that construction and rental companies face is that existing equipment lack of a universal tracking system, while on the other hand, the maintenance of this machinery are mostly human-oriented and time-costly. So what we have built is an attachable cube that communicates vital information regarding every machinery through an easy-to-use app. Our main focus is the single use of our cube. You just attach it on any kind of equipment, from bulldozers, excavators, breakers, generators, airlifts. You can observe it on your screen and then react according to the conditions. So what are the characteristics of our device? It includes a GPS for the location and also collect tremor and temperature data in order to measure the activity of the tool and also impact that it receives from every fault. The core underlying technology behind this is narrowband IoT, a new variant of 4G and 5G technologies that allows us to send specific amount of data on at very low cost and also at without consuming much battery. So we have built a durable autonomous device. The battery autonomy can last up to 6 months, which is so easy to use. It's just plug and play. What are the benefits for the construction company? First of all, is the simple fleet management. Every construction company has more than one active construction sites that need to get tool and machinery from one side to another. And so our application provides with simple visuals information about the tools and the users. And also the composite the feature that we want to develop by collecting data is to try to have a predictive maintenance feature in the future. As you may know, the heavy machinery market is quite big worldwide. At this moment, we are focusing mostly on Europe and Middle East. And our pricing model stands at $10 per month per device in the startup version, which includes the tool tracking mechanism. And also, we want to develop premium versions at $18 per month, which also will include the predictive maintenance check. Also, of course, there are discounts on larger batches and longer contracts. But regarding our competition, we have two main pillars. The first pillar of competition are OEMs, companies that build construction equipment, that they all have already developed internal solutions regarding their equipment. But they are 10 times more expensive than us, and also they have a limited amount of bandwidth, as they use mostly Bluetooth technologies in order to monitor their tools. On the other hand, there are telematics companies, not quite popular in Europe, but very popular in Americas, which are much more expensive, almost 10 times than us, and they also don't have the technology that we have at this moment. Our journey starts back 2017, when as a student project, we won the second place in Hilti IoT competition. We went to several other competitions. We got our first funding from Digital Venture, EIT Digital Venture Program in September 2018. We developed our product, and at this moment, we are happy to announce that our first revenue just came into the company. Our team is consisted of me, George, another George, an electrical engineer in the hardware systems, and Lefteris, the COO, also an electrical engineer, who is responsible for coordinating the team. We have 3 more developers in our team, and no, that's not right. I think this is all. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation and sticking to the time. Good. Let's have some questions then, starting again with some questions from the jury. Hani, would you like to start this one?
Yeah, just very quickly, how long does the battery charge per cube?
The battery charge is 3.3 milliamperes, which is, I think it's 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, so I'm supposed to attach this cube to a bulldozer who goes into the desert. How long does it last out there before I have to recharge it?
Well, the desert is a very good place to be, because it's an external position, so the GPS doesn't consume much battery, and you can be in the desert for 6 months without need for recharge.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Let's have a question from Oti then as well.
Yes. Yeah. So my question was, how do you attach this tag to devices?
Well,
to
in Europe, we attach it with epoxy resin in order to be the cube to be one with the machinery, and be very difficult and almost impossible to deattach it in order to have the anti-theft feature. But in Middle East, as we have seen, there are no thefts, because theft is punished with pretty hard ways. So no way is stealing there. So yeah.
And I guess this is targeted for a bit more expensive tools because of the price.
Yeah, our average machinery costs more than 400 euros.
Okay.
May I ask a question? It's Philip.
Absolutely.
How do you do I like the idea of someone stealing a bulldozer from the middle of the desert. It would probably take them a while to get away with it. But how do you do the predictive analytics piece? What do you, if you can stick this device anywhere, what real information are you picking up, and how do you communicate it using that narrowband system?
Well, first of all, we have not developed yet the predictive maintenance feature, but what we collect is two main variables. The first is the vibration, where from vibrations we can extract faults for smaller equipment, and also we can see if the motor is on the wrong. I don't know the exact technical term, but the motor needs to be adjusted at this point in order to produce the right amount of vibrations for the machinery. So we can see if the vibration diagram are on the correct side. I'm using it in a very abstract way, but I hope you understand it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I see that there are some answers as well to the questions from before in the chat. Thanks a lot for that. So we don't have to skip them completely. There was also a question from Mike here, right?
Yeah, I was just wondering why you said early on that there's no universal system for this. Do you have any understanding why there is no universal system yet?
Well, sorry, yeah, there are universal systems, especially on bigger machineries, mostly from telematics company. The telematics company have a large cube. It's like, give me a sec, I will show you right now. Well, can you see me? I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a sec. You see that?
Right.
It's from my son, but it's the size of the cube that is used on heavy tanks. That it's complete. It's similar to those telematic boxes used on bulldozers and excavators from telematics company. That means our solution it's a small cube that can be hidden on that. So there are universal features, but mostly for bigger machineries.
Okay, thank you very much for answering the questions and for the presentations, for the presentation as well. I think this wraps it up for this pitch, and we'll be moving on to the next pitch, which is fingerlemon. And again, the usual rules apply. We have 5 minutes for the pitch and then 5 minutes for the questions. The call is yours.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. First off, I think great pitches. They're so creative. I'm really happy to be part of. I thought that was really great so far. Yeah, so let's jump into our pitch. So we are fingerlemon, and we want to talk a little bit about today how you can maybe automate your qualitative research. There we go. So let's say you want to get the opinion of participants of a survey. You have two options. You have a form, so that's something like a Google form you can design with questions. And the downside of that is usually that it has low engagement, and you also have limited interaction, which means that the users are bound to what you ask them. On the other hand, if you want to collect qualitative data for your research, you can do interviews, and interviews work great. They're just very time consuming. And also you get so much data that you need to analyze that can be quite tedious. And we identified a use case where we think that neither of these cases are really useful and ideal. And that is clinical research. So we talked to the head of clinical research of a pharmaceutical company called Johnson & Johnson. And essentially what they do, they want to develop a new drug. They need people to try out the drug and follow a procedure to see that the drug doesn't have any side effects and that it is effective and so on. And one part of this procedure is that you need to go to the doctor. And when we asked them how they collect information, they said that they interact with participants at most once a month. So when they go to the doctor, but we don't have any information on what is happening in between the visits. So when the participants visits the doctor, then you can check all his status, his blood information and so on, but you can only check it then. But they would like to know what happens in between those visits. And for that, we made a solution that is Chatbot as a Service. And what it's supposed to help you is to really check up and get in connection and stay in connection with participants of drug trials, for instance. So how this would work is just you have your phone, and you every day you get a message on how do you feel today, and then you can say, in this case, if you can read it in the bottom left, it says, I feel some nausea and also a headache. And then what we do is we take this information from the participant, and we analyze the text that he wrote. So in this case, you can see on the right side that we identified under symptoms that he wrote he had nausea and a headache. And we can also see when he had it. So there's a timestamp to that. And what we believe this does is it really helps you to, you know, keep tracking how are people doing, how is their well-being, does this drug have any side effect, what is the condition on it, and this just opens up all the time frame between the beginning of the month when you had your doctor's appointment to the next month. You can tell everything that happened in between. So that was a use case of what we want with our chatbot as a service. And in general, what we want to do is we want to reach participants anywhere. So we are not a platform where you have to sign up. No, we can work through your messenger. If you use Facebook Messenger, we can work through email. But my favorite is SMS, because everybody uses SMS on their phone. And and then you can just answer the question that is needed. In this case, for clinical trials, it's about the well-being. So the question, how are you doing? You get a question, you answer every day whenever you want how you're feeling today. And then what we do is we do natural language processing on top of your answer, and we extract the key information, as you saw before, nausea and a headache. And and we want to do this in a scheduled way. So depending on the use case, you can do this once a month or every day if it's a clinical trial. I hope that's understandable. And so the team, it is me. So I'm part of the data analytics, the natural language processing that takes the message from participants and understands the information, extracts it, and makes it structurally available for the researchers to analyze. And with me is Vincent, who came up with this idea, and he's in charge of the product development. And he's been working with the web apps and like software design before. So that's our product. Thank you so much. If you think this could be useful for your research, for your qualitative research, you can of course reach out to us, and I think we can help you. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jordi. Time for some questions. First of all, we start again with some questions from the jury. I see there's a question from Karin there. Would you like to start?
Yes, I would like to start. I have multiple questions, but first of all, I'd like to know if how far are you in your roadmap? Do you already have the product for the market, or do you already, or are you still in the trial phase with this clinical research?
So we are, in fact, compared to other participants here, rather in the early phase. So we have what you saw before with the chat and the analysis. That's from our prototype, the software we made, and we are now trying it out with our first use case. So we are not really established in the way other participants are in this competition. But that's our status.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Can you can use? Sorry, take a second question. You can use the chat box also for other markets than just this clinical one, I assume, right?
You can, but what we believe is it's good to focus on something and do it really well. So while chatbots have a very, very wide functionality and they're used in a very wide branch of industries, that's something that we're targeting at first. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to another question. I think there's some questions from Oti there as well.
Yes. Have you thought about the security of your system? Because of course this health data is very sensitive.
Yeah, that's correct. And you're right with that. So there are some, for health data, it's even more sensitive. So you need to follow the data laws where you operate. So in Europe, it would be GDPR and plus. But we were actually talking with legal before from KTH. We got some advice. And so that the short answer is yes, it's possible. It needs to be considered, but it can be executed upon. So it's possible.
Okay, let's have one more question from the jury and then one from the audience. Hani, would you like to ask something?
Yeah, two very quick questions. Together, have you considered audio along with text? And then how do you make money besides cost per request?
Okay, sure. Thanks for the question. Audio would be interesting. That would be something like voice notes that you then have to translate into text and analyze it. We have not worked on it yet, but it would be interesting for sure. And for the business model, no, I think cost per request is just something that we seem fit to our service. So if you're a researcher and you need to get data, the more data you get from us, the more you pay. So you just pay per incoming data. That's that's the business model behind it. Quite simple.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's then finally give the floor to the voice of our audience, Jose Carlos, to ask a question on behalf of the of the people in the call.
Mehul has a question regarding the complexity of the information that you can analyze. So besides identifying keywords, do you also have some sort of scale on which the participant can measure, for example, whether they had a light headache or a heavy one? So are you able to distinguish different degrees on this scale of symptoms?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, essentially what we can do on the technical aspect of it is if we're not very certain that we identified the important information, what you can do is like a callback. It's just like a question, or did you mean this? Or on a scale from 1 to 10, how heavy is it? So those are definitely things that are supported. So if you have a headache, you can make a question forward, like on top of that information that you provided, and get a little bit more information. Or if you're not sure, you can ask again, our understanding is that you have this, is this correct? And then you can just answer yes or no, or something different.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation and for answering all the questions. I think that's all we have time for now. Let's move on to the next.
Thank you so much.
Pitch. Thank you. Which is going to be from Gluebus. I hope you are in the call as well.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
So yes, the call is yours.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Do you
presentation mode though?
Oh, okay, sorry. Then I need to do like this. All right. Now you can see it, right?
Perfect, yes.
Okay, thanks everybody, especially for the participants before and the one that will come after us. I'm Giovanni De Francesco. I graduated from the EIT Security and Privacy track in 2017. And today I'm joined here with my other founder, Giorgio Giotto. And we are here just to solve a very simple problem. As you would know, young adults and teenagers especially like to go clubbing and partying. And most of the times there is drinks involved, at least for me. And sometimes you have to drive back home. And of course, nobody wants this to happen. So what we do, we provide safe bus trips for night events. So you can think of us as the Flixbus for night events. How does it work? Basically, we have developed a system where, based on the tickets sold, we optimize the round trips for being cost effective. Also, we have a partnership with local bus renters to have some kind of deals. And we also partnership with a few local discos that promote us as the official mean of transportation to the event. You might wonder if this is worth it. So right now we are live with an MVP. The first week we sold 3 tickets, and after 4 weeks we sold 110 tickets. And after that we had to stop due to COVID-19. And I will get back on COVID-19 topic a little bit later in the slide. Let's analyze the competitors now. So we would like to focus most on medium-sized cities like towns. And here our major competitor are taxis, so cabs. But they are very expensive. And even if you are in a small group, like 4 people, it's more expensive than our tickets. And many people, we found out through surveys that they resort to illegal taxis, let's say. I don't know how to best describe them, but they are represented with the right icon there. And basically, those are not professional drivers. Also, most of the times they don't show up, it seems, so you're basically gambling on the ride. There are other 2 main competitors, which are Gluebus and Uber. But Uber is only present like in Berlin, Paris, Milan, Rome, so big cities. And it's not really for this kind of venues. And instead, Gluebus goes only for big events, like, I don't know, an Ariana Grande kind of concert. So we are there on the top right corner because I think we are the most affordable and readily available for this kind of sizes. Let's have a look at a few numbers. These are real numbers from the MVP. So the average ticket sold based on the distance was more or less 10 euros. And the profit netto, really, we got 3 euros per ticket. On top of that, Disco were actually super happy to pay us 2 euros because we were confirming those number of people that they were going before the event even started. And maybe with your help, if you can, we would like also to start to upsell. So having brand promotion and other services sold on the bus, just like Ryanair does, for example, on their flights. Let's go back on the COVID-19 issue. So just as when nightlife basically reopened and everyone could go out, there was a high demand. Actually, people were asking where was our service. We didn't think about reopening, but they immediately, at least. So, and they asked about the service. We sold 2 weeks ago 22 tickets, and last week 32 tickets. And we know that in the following weeks these numbers are going to, let's say, increase. This is what we would like to get from you, if possible. So first and foremost, counseling. We are still small, and we need to know how to move forward, especially on how to expand, and also funding, because come on, we are a startup. Everybody needs funding. I would like to present you the team. Besides me and Giorgio is the CEO. I'm the CTO. There is a designer with us, Nicola Rossi, and also a marketing guru, Francesco Testoni. 2 particular mentions go to Vincenzo Viola, who is our special advisor for product market fit. It really helped us finding the niche and filling it. And also Paolo Giotto, who previously worked with bus rentals, and he has foot, let's say, in that part of the business, and really can help us through having those partnerships.
Thank you very much, Giovanni.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Let's move to some of the questions there, starting with the jury again. Let's start with a question from Hani, that's on the top.
Yeah, is this service for students or professionals? And if for professionals, have you considered other venues than discos? You still use the word discos? Last time I used this word in front of my daughter, she said, "You're so 1970s," but thank you, I'm not that old. But have you considered like weddings or company invitations? So not just discotheques or clubs.
Yeah, so Actually, that's kind of our pivot in the case COVID-19 gives us a very bad, time, let's say. For now, no. We saw that this kind of service is especially especially needed by students, yes, but also basically our target customer is between 18 and 35. Also, we ran a few surveys, and we saw that 37% of the respondents didn't want to go to a club or to an event, basically because they couldn't find a safe way to arrive there, including themselves not drinking, and also and 28% instead actually went anyway, although knowing that the person who was driving already drunk. So we know that this kind of market for now is where we would like to focus. I don't know if I answered correctly.
I think so. Otherwise, there would probably be a follow-up question.
Okay.
Let's have a look at some other questions from the jury. I see a couple of questions from Karin. Would you like to ask those?
Yes, again, questions from me indeed. The concept that you have is at the moment very local, I assume. How do you plan to scale up? Do you plan to scale up?
Yeah, we absolutely plan to scale up. We have actually a roadmap also. Right now, we want to act local, first and foremost, because we know the bus renters, and we can have a deal. But in the future, we are already indeed a little bit establishing connection in Austria, and we would like also to, of course, go there. And this is also one thing that maybe somebody from EIT can help us with. We don't have too many connections. We have just one for now, but we absolutely plan to do it.
Yeah. Okay. May I ask another question?
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. What is the technology part of this story? How innovative is this?
So basically, the most valuable thing is how we organize the round trips. For now, it's all done, let's say, in the old way, like with a bunch of for loops and ifs. So we see what's the most effective way, also thanks to Google Maps API, how to organize the trips in order to be shorter and also cost effective. But in the future, we would like also to implement some kind of AI to even foresee the most needed trips in advance and already prepare. So this is the kind of way we would like to scale in that regard. But for now, no buzzwords. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you
you
very much. Yeah.
Then there's also some questions from Oti. Maybe you want to ask those as well.
Yes. So how long it will take to get home with your bus?
So it depends. So basically on the event you want to go. Up to now, what we saw that the maximum trip was around 35 minutes, more or less. And maybe Giorgio knows a little bit better. Yeah, Giorgio?
Yeah, maybe Giovanni, I can expand on this because I'm the one on the operation side. I think the right answer is around less than 20% more than the duration of the trip with the car. So that's our threshold. So sometimes if the trip is not too complex in terms of stops, we can more or less match the duration of the trip that you would take in car. But our threshold is 20% more. So if in car it takes 30 minutes, with our service, it will maximum take 36 minutes.
Yeah. So basically, when people buy a ticket, they need to say where they live and where they are going.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And how do you find your drivers? Do you hire them? How does it go?
The drivers are included in the bus rentals deal.
Okay.
They provide the drivers.
And where did you test this solution? In Italy? What kind of city, town?
Yes, so we tested it in Brescia. It's a town basically in between Verona and Milan. I don't know if you know those two cities.
Is it close to Garda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I know.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on to the next presentation, let's go back to our voice of the audience, Jose Carlos, for one more question from the chat.
Yeah, so I will try to actually combine two questions from Marina and Peter, and these both refer to the customer journey. So can you explain how much time in advance you need to get the ticket, and then where does the bus take you? So do they bring you back home, to the door of your home, or to some specific drop point?
There are specific drop points. Basically, it's the main square of your town. And by rough estimation, it's not that far for the distances that we are talking about and the kind of geography that we are targeting. We saw that it's not that far. So even if you need to call your dad in the middle of the night, it's just like a 5 minutes ride, or maybe you can just walk by. And it's not that far. And the other question was, sorry?
How much in advance do you need to buy the ticket?
Half a day in advance. Maybe Giorgio can expand on this. We plan to get better in this, but half a day.
Yes, our threshold is before 5 p.m. But then if we have free spots on the already planned trips, so then we open again the availability. So let's suppose we have until 5 p.m. to lock to the rental how many buses are we taking. And then after we lock, maybe we have like 20 spots left. So we post on like Instagram, and we say, okay, we have 20 spots left. So we kind of fill the remaining spots like this.
Okay, thank you very much for answering all the questions and also for the nice presentation. For that's all we have time for now. So let's move on to the next pitch, which is going to be from ID 21. I hope you're in the call.
Yep.
Absolutely, very good. So yes, the stage is yours. Feel free to start.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sandeep Pandey. I'm presenting ID Forms. It's mobile-friendly local forms. First, forms are everywhere, but not everywhere in digital form. In many developing countries, there are still printed forms that are used for data collection. In the right, you can see one of the KYC form from banks, and it is still handwritten and then digitized. It is quite slow and inefficient, and also quite costly for the organization. So we started with developing a solution for that. We already know that there are a lot of form builder solutions, and there's a huge market globally, over $1 billion. But why do we need another form builder solution? It's because in developing nations, the localization is quite an important thing. And the acceptance of the local payments, this matters when you are collecting data or accepting forms, accepting payments in the local scenario. It's a simple solution, but often the simple solution is the best solution when you are looking in a local market. And this is how it looks. The user, the organization can create the forms with the drag and drop solution. It's very easy, and they can publish the form. A QR code is generated, and everybody, almost most of the people in developing nations, they have the mobile phones. Also, the internet penetration is quite high. So with these mobile-based forms, they can easily submit the data and also do payments, and we accept local payments. The customers that we are targeting is schools and universities. Those are the early adopters. They have shown interest in it. We have one educational institute with over 10,000 students, and they want to use it, but we are in the talks. So we are developing the prototype, and we will be testing that very soon. The other vertical that we are looking at is the business owners. There are a lot of small shops and retails. They sell items offline right now, but with the form they can collect payment, and it's especially interesting because of the current pandemic. Everybody wants to go online, and it's one of the solution in this undeveloped market. We provide the solution for free, so there every organization can collect 1,000 responses in their forms. So it could be payments, it could be just the data collection for 1,000 responses for free. And for more than that, it's 1 cent per response, and it's more you collect a response, more you have to pay. And we also provide add-ons, so payments, CMS, and also we will be providing a website builder. It's especially for the mobile, so you can create a mobile website out of it, and it will help a lot of small businesses in this underserved market to go online. And this is the team. I am the CEO of this company. We have been running for 2 years. So we have been working on several software solutions, especially in blockchain and security. Here we started working on this by looking at a different product that we are developing. It's the identity cloud. The identity is not that developed in the developing nations, but for that we need a way for people to collect data. One of the example earlier I showed is KYC. There people should be able to submit this data, and the next step is the identity. So we are going with a longer vision, but this is the first step, and the market is already big. And yeah, this is basically it, and I think we'll have a quite impact in taking this developing countries online and digitize.
Thank you very much, Sandeep, for the presentation. We have time for some questions, as usual, starting with the jury. I see there's questions from Uti and from Karen in the chat. Uti, maybe we can start with you.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. You mentioned that payments can be done with your form. So have you already done some partnerships with payment processing companies, like credit card companies or something?
Yeah, on that, I'm from Nepal. In Nepal, we don't have credit card payments online, but there are payment gateways, and we already have started integrating the payment gateways, the local payment gateways. So that's how we will accept the payment.
Okay, excellent.
That is also one of the reasons why bigger form solutions like Typeform and Wufoo, those will not work in these developing countries.
Thank you very much. We also have a question there from Karen. Karen, do you want to ask this?
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Before we started the pitches, I had looked up every participant's website address, and yours was named Cereto.com, about blockchain and financial. That's what I had in mind. And then you started about the forms, and I was confused. So I checked again if I had been wrong about your name, etc. So that's why the question is, you named your startup ID 22. When I go to your website, it is Cereto.com, and in the tab of your website, it's called Cereto Technology. What is your identity?
Yes, yeah. Can you see my screen again?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is ID21. ID21 is the solution that I'm presenting here, and Cireto is the company that is I won. And this is with the team that we are building a product. This is the startup product, and here we have been in business for 2 years, and we have clients for which we have been working and bootstrapping from the beginning.
Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then there is also a question from Philip.
Yeah, could you tell us about the sales you've got and the evidence of the demand? You had a pricing up there, and you clearly identified schools and universities as your first market. I was just wondering what evidence of customer usage you've got now.
Yes. Yeah. The interest that we have is from an educational institute. They serve hundreds of thousands of students, over 10K over a year. And for every form, the process, they have 1 or 2 person who digitize those forms, put it in the system. And we are basically digitizing that process, and they are willing to give €1 for each form. So that's the basis, but we are looking at higher scalability points so that they will have more forms and also cheaper for them.
So you won a project from the university to do form digitization, and from that you could see we could turn this into a product, and then we could start charging for that and sell it to other places. Is that right?
That is not right entirely. It's the initiative is from us, and they are going to be the first one that will be using it, and they are interested in it. We don't have the letter of intent yet because they haven't seen the solution yet. We are still building it.
Okay.
But we will do quite soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Normally we would have time left for one question from the audience, but since there is none in the chat, there's another question from Oti. Maybe you want to ask.
Yeah, my question was again about the payments. So you didn't mention that you could have a revenue share of the payments that been done through your platform. Could this be something to consider?
Yes. We have thought about that, but at the initial stage, we don't think we can make much money out of it, because the fees for this payment gateways, they are quite high, and we are looking at it from 2 sides. One, the customer, they themselves can get the keys, or they can be the customer of this payment provider, and we use their keys to accept payments. So in that case, they pay the fees themselves. And other is we become a proxy for the payment, and we use our keys to process the payment. So in that case, the customer will pay a little bit extra.
Okay, thank you very much for answering the questions. There was one more question in the chat. Maybe you can answer it there, as we do not have much time left right now to answer it within the call. So let's move on to our next pitch. Thanks a lot, Sandeep, for the presentation, answering the questions. The next pitch will be from InSignum. I hope you're in the call.
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. Yes. So the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes to present, just like all the others.
Let me find my tab to present. This is the first time I'm using this tool. Present entire screen, maybe. Okay. Okay. Can you see the screen?
It works perfectly.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Adrian, and I'm going to present the InSignum project. Deaf and hard of hearing people are not able to take part of everyday sounds. But what are the real implications of this? What are they saying? We have interviewed potential customers and discovered a lot of different unpleasant situations. Some example were floods at home, people that were almost run over, potential accidents. What all these real-life situations have in common is that they suppose spending money and time that could have been avoided or having further negative consequences in health or relationship. We all want to be safe, have freedom, save money and time. So our solution, in the past, there has been several specialized products available for deaf people that have provided some assistance for a single or simple everyday problem. These solutions have, however, been costly, and smart technology haven't fully come to them. So to solve the problem presented, InSignum will offer a single solution for multiple kinds of sounds. Our specialized products are like an indoor solution, an intelligent IoT-like system to be used at home, at work, and maybe public space like hospitals, for example. It can convey what is making sound and where is the sound coming from. But this line of work has been freeze because we want to focus in another alternative that have raised more interest in our potential customer. It is an inconspicuous wearable device that makes the user aware of important sounds in their surrounding and as well where the sound are coming from. We have developed and tested a prototype. If you can see it. It can detect sounds and their source direction and convey both using direct translation via vibrotactile feedback. We have tested it, but we need to continue testing it with deaf people, especially because the corona situation has made this task very difficult to reach them because usually the deaf association are closed. Let's go to the market quickly. There are like 466 million people in the world with hearing problems. The figure is increasing, but we will, however, focus only on pure deaf people, profoundly deaf people, or people with a lot of severe hair loss. According this 16 million is based on an estimation based on the United States and United Kingdom figures, because we don't have like a general, like precise figure. And there are some competition in this segment. Antenna, it's a wearable. It's pretty similar to our concept, but it's totally the opposite because it's also blink and it's in the head of the person wearing it. So it's against all the people what have telling us that they don't want to grab the attention. Music, not impossible. It's a more complex wearable. It's super immersive, but it's only used for feeling music. So it will not cover the everyday life aspect that we want to focus on. Bemal Symphone, maybe in the future when we expand to also people with hearing loss, could be a competence, but right now we are not entering into the market of the amplifying sounds, let's say. We are focusing more in wearables that convey via tactile feedback. Let's go super quickly through the business model. I'm rushing a bit because I haven't prepared, the 10 minutes, but yeah, I will try to do my best. As you can see, the market is a niche market. We are targeting like specific people, so our customer is super niche market, and it is important to reach them creating communities because due to their handicap, they are usually suspicious and are generally isolated. So have this community will help us to overcome those barriers. The revenue stream will come for the selling of the wearable. However, in our interviews, we have been seeing there is some space for customization. We can just improve or make some adjustment to the wearable so they can prefer it. The cost structure is basically the hardware, although the production costs and the research for further development will also need it. The channels will be basically social media to create that community, as we mentioned. We can have our own custom direct channels, for example, to have a web for sale the wearables. The value proposition is clear. It's meeting needs that haven't been completely met before. Our next step is, first of all, rebuild the team because we were 6 people, also 7 for another courses, but we don't need, not all the participants are going to continue in the project because we use the project also in a couple of courses here in KTH. Also, we need to scale up the production. First, we need to MVP to test really in a better way, not just with a prototype. So I'm almost time, so I'd love to help people, and thank you.
Thank you very much, and impressive job in squeezing it back into 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go to some questions from the jury first. There's 2 questions from Karin, so let's start with those.
I'm gonna put the camera on, even if I don't see myself here.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I like your slogan, help to help people. But I saw in your presentation a picture of what you're going to make, but how do you wear it? Because you said it will not be in the hair, it will not be...
Yeah, exactly. What we made was a prototype with, I mean, it's basically a bunch of wires, and we choose that because with that we can like simulate different wearables. We can put it like around, for example, the ear. So we were simulating a headphones, which will combine like left and right direction. Another option would be a belt. So you can put it in the shape of a belt. So you have like 360 degrees to realize where the sound is coming from, back, etc. And also you can put like in the shoulders and in the waist. So you have like a vest. So that approach was to test several potential like wearables. That's answer the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. And then the next one that I had is the follow-up question on this is what is the roadmap? When will you have the products on the market? And
So,
which markets? The next question is then, when do you think you have the product on the market, and which market are you going to? Which countries?
Okay, yeah. According to our research, it should be done in 1 year, like a fully complete version. And we are targeting Europe mostly, and especially like Sweden, because most of the team are here. Although I'm going to move to Paris next year, but we are trying to keep connection and keep working on that here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Then there's a question from Philip as well.
Yeah.
I just put up there, sounds fascinating. How do you distinguish between the different sounds and noises, which are important and perhaps which might be safety critical? And how do you prevent the profoundly deaf person that's your target market, from being kind of confused or overwhelmed by the number of signals and stimulants they're getting?
Yes, there are a lot of questions there. So, first of all, the direct relation concept is basically that you just map the sounds, like either temporary or in intensity, through the tactile feedback. So, for example, we make a test and we have several sounds. Like one of them was an ambulance. So the ambulance sound is like a strong, soft, more or less, no. So we just try to combine that into vibration. So it was a stronger vibration, softer vibration, every certain period of time. So with that kind of thing, they can start relating. I mean, we so far have like 60-70% of recognition of the sounds. But according to the research, it's very easy to start learning super fast, especially if you wear it like the whole day. You will start distinguishing the sound. You are learning kind of a new sense. For the second question, of course, it can be overwhelming. You go to the street, you see people talking, you see like the ambulance, there's a lot of noises. Right now, we have like 3 degrees of sensibility. I don't know if this is the word. We can like reach up to 70 decibel, 60, and 50. That's one trigger. And we also, in the future, in the long run, we want to add more intelligence system, so we can just specific like target some like sounds through some recognition. That would be like, okay, I don't want to hear anything that is super low, for example, because it's like we'll be always making vibration.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, just like a comment, the touch sense works like I don't know, like for example, I don't know if that happened to you as well. Like you start hearing a noise, and for a long time, you stop like hearing it until, for example, the AC stopped, and you realize, oh, it was working, and I didn't hear it anymore. So the same feeling happens with the skin. So they will be also get used to the vibration until it stops. So that's another way to distinguish that things.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's then have a question from our voice of the audience, Jose Carlos.
Yeah, so Mehul is asking regarding the cost of the device. Do you have already an estimate of how much your solution would cost?
Yes, the whole prototype thing has cost us like 120 euros, and we estimate that with the manufacturing costs and everything, it could be went up like up to 200 euros. We still need to like talk with deeper, but that's like a rough estimation.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Here, it will be an affordable range. I would say yes, because in the interviews with the customer, they are willing to pay up to 1,000. So it's really, I think we have like a lot of space there to grow.
Thank you very much for answering all the questions and also for the interesting presentation.
Thank you.
We have 2 more pitches left for tonight. As you can see, it's quite a sit with all these interesting presentations. But the next up is from SpotYet, who will also have 5 minutes to present and 5 minutes to answer the questions afterwards. So the floor is yours, guys.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen now. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi, I'm Sergio from SpotYet Virtual, a product with a clear mission, improving the social interaction within organizations. It's going to be a paradigm shift in working methods after the COVID-19 crisis. Google already announced that their employees will work from home until the end of the year. Twitter announced that remote work is going to be a permanent option. Now, imagine that you are a manager in a company. Everywhere you look online, you see surveys, articles, and posts about remote work. Most people want to work from home, either partially or fully. And I don't want to sell here remote work. I'm just saying that this is a trend, and sooner or later it will affect all of us, if it hasn't already, of course. And as managers, you have to minimize risks. Now, you might wonder what's going to happen with the organizational culture, how to integrate new employees, and also how to ensure a good communication and motivation inside of my team, department, or even company. I'm here to present you the solution to all these problems, SpotYet Virtual, a bot integrated within corporate communication systems. We facilitate remote coffee breaks with people from all corners of your company. We make sure that you keep a cohesive team culture and that you encourage interpersonal relations. With us, you can build a community, a group of people that know each other and share the same values. Now, you might wonder how to add our bot to your system. You just go to our website and you add our Slack bot to your workspace. Then you can add it to whatever channels you want. We recommend you, though, to create a separate channel in order to avoid spamming people. Then you are going to have the chance to configure the bot as a manager. You'll see soon the screen. Here is the description of what the bot can do. And in the configuration window, you'll be able to select when you want matching to take place. Now, this can be fixed, like every week or every 2 weeks. It can also be spontaneous. You can select the group size of people to be matched. Later on, we'll also have an analytics dashboard here, and managers will be able to broadcast messages. Then that's all. Employees get matched. And as you can see here, in each group, one person is going to be assigned to schedule the meeting. You can see it right here. And this should take like 1 minute tops because they are going to use your company's software. Now, regarding the business side, we target companies with at least 15 employees which work partially or fully remotely. And we are going to have monthly subscriptions with packages influenced by the number of active users and premium features such as customized connections, icebreakers, and an analytics dashboard. We are going to use the free version as a lead magnet for our sales funnel. In the following 6 months, we are going to focus on increasing the size of our customer base with our free version. We are going to do this by using our social networks, and also we are going to approach big Slack communities in order to offer our product for free for visibility. And we are also currently working on building a Slack workspace for all EIT Digital students and alumni in order to empower networking. During these 6 months, we'll also work on premium features, and then in the growth stage, we aim to get an investment at some point around the end of this year. We are also going to have a fully developed product by the end of this stage, and we'll start turning clients into paying customers. Of course, there is competition out there, but we have some strong, unique selling points. We offer conversation support. It can be simple questions proposed by us or managers, or small games. We also will offer Microsoft Teams integration. This will be done by the end of this year, and this is a new market. There is no competition there, and it's a software getting more and more popular. And with a customized matching, imagine that you want to learn something new, or you just want to chat on a different topic. We can make that happen. We will match you with the right people. And this is our main strength, I would say, the team. We have 6 EIT Digital students in our team out of 7 team members. We come from 6 different countries, and we developed 2 products in the last year. Our first one, SpotYet Events, was already tested. It was supposed to be released in March, but due to COVID, it was put on hold. However, we'll not forget about that product. And yeah, we are ready to get an investment and start working full-time on SpotYet. Now, in the end, I want to say that after 8 months in KTH Innovation, and after testing SpotYet Virtual in 5 organizations so far, I can say with confidence that connecting remote workers is vital, and SpotYet Virtual is the solution most companies are looking for right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very sorry for not giving you the heads up when there was 1 minute left, but you timed it perfectly. So let's move to some questions. I don't see anything in the chat yet, but are there any questions from the jury that you would like to ask?
Yeah, there is one now.
There is one now, but I see Philip also unmuted himself, so maybe we can start with that.
Karen, do you want to go ahead, Karen?
Oh, no problem. You can go too.
I was going to ask what evidence you've got that people actually that there's a real need for this. How difficult is it for people to actually organize, as you say, sort of virtual coffee breaks or whatever else it might be? Aren't they doing it pretty well already?
Thank you for your question. So in companies, there are HRs taking care of organizing these social events and activities, and they take quite a lot of time. We would save some time for HRs, and we'll make sure that all employees are actually engaged in these activities. We've been in contact with multiple companies from all over Europe, to be honest, and also based on the feedback we received from the testers, there is a need for this. They also mentioned what kind of different features they would want from SpotYet Virtual. There are also companies that are trying to build something like this in-house. I cannot mention names here, but there is for sure a need, especially now with all this remote work.
So do you have something working? Do you have a prototype actually working? And in which case, how many people are using it, or how many organizations are using it?
Yes, we have the MVP already ready. And in 1 month, we managed to have SpotYet Virtual used in 5 organizations, 3 companies and 2, let's say, like communities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, then there's a question from Karen as well.
Yeah, what do these companies where you have tested the product advantages to them besides having all these kinds of applications randomly?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I got your question. So what advantages do these companies saw?
Yeah, what did they say? Okay. What was good on the product?
So the thing is, now with this remote work, we are all having meetings, but they're all work related. People don't have time to actually socialize, to have those random chats during coffee breaks. And this was actually a need. It affected the motivation inside teams. Teammates actually talk to each other and they discover new things about themselves thanks to the conversation topics we suggested. So overall, it boosted the energy and the motivation inside teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what you basically do is integrate multiple services into one solution, right? You can, for example, I drink coffee every morning with my colleagues in Eindhoven via one chat tool, and I have with my communications team another chat tool, which I also do my coffee in between breaks, just like you're saying hi to someone opposed to you, but you integrate all of this, the chat function, the meeting function, also collaboration functions to work on documents together, for example?
No, we don't have this. We We match people in groups, and from there, it's basically their decision what they want to do during the call. They can use our suggestions, but we just provide a platform for people to communicate.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there was also a question from Mike.
Hi, Sergey. Why did you decide to go with a freemium model? Why not just go straight and start charging everyone to use the product?
So we analyzed our competitors. We saw what they offer for free and what is part of premium packages. And we want to attract as many customers as possible because at the moment there is no big competitor there. There is no market leader. We want to attract as many as possible with a version that doesn't offer actually that many cool features. For example, everybody is asking for an analytics dashboard because managers need to have some KPIs there. They want customized connections, not just random. And all these things, they're going to be premium features. In the end, also after the feedback we've got, I'm quite sure most customers will be premium.
Okay, thank you very much for answering all the questions and for the great presentation, Sergio. We have reached our last startup that's presenting, and I see Tim already switched on the camera, which means he is here to present his company, Construqt.
Yeah, thank you, Jeroen. Yes, wait, let me show.
So because you joined a little later, I will quickly introduce it to you as well. You have 5 minutes to present, and then we have 5 minutes to answer questions from the jury and the participants in the call.
Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, hello everybody. I'm Tim from Construqt, and I'm really excited to tell something more about our startup. Let's first take a look around you. Yeah, probably you won't have this view because this is at the moment where I'm sitting. I see a wall made out of concrete, bricks, foam insulation, and I see a wooden and aluminium frame. All these materials are used to provide you with a great working and living experience. But all these construction materials are highly polluting. 40% of all energy-related CO2 emissions come from the construction sector. And society is demanding for more sustainable construction. The use of sustainable construction materials and products can lower these emissions a lot. A construction project starts with an architect, an engineer who designs a building with different types of materials. At the moment, there's no overview of sustainable construction materials. This is why the search for sustainable construction materials currently looks like this. Just a simple Google search. The search, comparison, and ordering process for one single sustainable material can take up to 60 hours for a large project, and that's a huge amount of costs. But we, as Construqt, are changing that. All they need to do now is to go on our website and to send their first material request. With the help of our smart algorithm, the perfect match for their specific needs will be found. This saves them a lot of time. At the moment, the matching takes place about a week, and it will speed up with every request we have processed. Eventually, materials can also be bought by us. So how does our business model look like? Architects and engineers can subscribe to our matchmaking service. Therefore, they pay a monthly fee of 100 euros, like you would pay for a Spotify subscription. This is a recurring revenue for us. The best purchase prices are communicated from the beginning on. When the purchase is made, material manufacturers pay a commission fee of 5% to us on average. At the moment, we operate in the Netherlands, and multiple studies have shown that the demand for sustainable construction will continue to rise. And the Netherlands is one of the leaders in this field. Our focus lies on large projects with a budget for sustainability. Next year in the Netherlands alone, architects and engineers will be looking for sustainable materials worth 3 billion euros. Through Construqt, that money will be spent on materials that actually meet their high sustainability standards. So looking at the competition, we are the only ones who offer personalized suggestions and a direct and easy purchase. Those factors are crucial because most architects and engineers are not familiar with sustainable alternatives. and way too much time is spent to compare prices. Yeah, I'm not doing this all alone. We have the whole Construqt team. We have met during an EIT Climate Gig summer school 2 years ago. We're an international team with a background in material science, software development, and some of us have the entrepreneurial mindset in their family for ages. So taking a look at our timeline, the last months we have joined several projects and events to expand our network. We were a finalist of a COVID-19 competition in the Netherlands and even acquired our first customers. We're planning to join a European project on sustainable housing materials and increasing our customer base. And we're excited to take our scalable solution further in the coming months. But yeah, apart from our amazing product, why would we be EIT Digital Alumni Startup of the Year? We are a cross-kick EIT startup with alumni from EIT Digital, but also EIT InnoEnergy and Climate Kick. We believe that a cross-kick collaboration is needed to achieve great results. With only computer scientists, we believe that you're not able to change the world. We would like to inspire EIT students and alumni from different kicks to collaborate more with each other on startup ideas and to start to have impact. If you're interested in what we're doing, feel free to reach out to me, and we are always looking for people who would like to make a change. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thanks a lot for sticking to the time as well.
Should I still keep sharing the screen, or?
As you want. If you have more things to show, then you can. Otherwise, feel free to stop sharing. Okay. Time for some questions. I see there's some in the chat from the jury. There's one from Karin to begin with, so maybe you want to start.
I had to unmute, sorry for that.
No problem.
Yeah, Tim, in the beginning, thank you for the presentation, by the way. In the beginning, you mentioned that the material search for architects takes up to 60 hours. In there, you find your business model, because if you do it faster. How much time will you save the architects?
Yeah, basically, at the moment, we have the thing that within a week we have the right materials, because we're starting at the moment. So within a week, we come up with suggestions. So basically, we also save them time and yeah, employee costs. Basically, that's also what we're doing.
Okay.
But we're like automating the process. So we work with a whole database, and also we do the searches with ourselves. We've made a specific Google scraper in a way that we know how to target which materials, and that's sort of our internal tool. And yeah, and we're sort of working, improving it step by step.
Very good. Karin, I see you had a second question. Do you want to ask this one as well or not?
Yeah, when architects want to buy sustainable products via you, they need to fill in a form. They cannot search for these products themselves. So you make them depend on you. How does that work? That was the question. You already mentioned a little bit that you have this Google scraper. Or is that what technology is behind that?
Yeah,
how does it work?
Yeah, so basically, architects and engineers, they make a request to us. They get in contact with us. So at the moment, we would like to really automate this process, but at the moment they just make a request, and then we look in our database, and also with our scraping tool, we sort of try to find materials, and we provide architects and engineers with material suggestions in a way. And then they can come back to us, and they say like, hey, wow, we like these materials, we'd like to use these materials for the project, and then we contact the manufacturers and provide, make the deal basically for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. I see there's also a couple of questions from Otti there. Go ahead and ask those if you like.
Yeah, so how do you plan to get more users to your platform?
Yeah, that's good. Like, to be honest, one thing to make clear, like, we're not really a platform. We're really sort of a service where people can sort of make a request to our service. And the thing what we're really not doing, in the beginning, the construction sector works a lot with collaborations. So we're also now joining a European project, Strong House project, and it's a project with different architects, constructors, and engineers in it. And therefore, we also make connections. And most of the time in this field, it works also mouth-to-mouth marketing. So if you do deliver a great product, then other people would also like to use your product. So that's at the moment the strategy what we're using.
Yeah. Why don't you make it possible for the architects to search on your platform or whatever, and then even make the purchases through your platform directly? So why don't you automate all this and take transaction fees or whatever on the way?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's our also goal. That's what we want to do. But like at the moment, a platform or like a service can also be done without fully digitizing. So we have already a part of it digitized, but yeah, our future goal, like for Amazon, also was not there in one day. So we're slowly building it up and automizing it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I see there's some more questions from the jury, so let's go on with a question from Mike.
Yeah, why did you decide to sort of charge both sides of the market, both the architects and the suppliers?
Because at the moment, like what we see is like for both sides, we also provide benefits. Like there are 2 pain points on both sides. Like the architects, they would like to find these materials, and on the other hand, also if we help, there are a lot of, for example, in the Netherlands, where we have a lot of contacts with installation companies. There are a lot of innovative types of installations, and most of the time, these companies. They are not promoted that well. So we also provide them with sort of a promotion tool that we say like, hey, look at these materials, maybe this could be interesting. So, and at the moment it works in a way for us. So if we can have both, why would we change that?
Very good. I see one more question from the jury. So let's do that one before you wrap up with a question from the audience. Philip?
Yeah, I'm missing something here. It seems to me that I could do what you're doing just sitting here with Google and finding stuff. I don't really get what the value add is. If it's taking me a week, I fill a form in, say, find me a sustainable brick, and it takes you a week to email back to me. I could just find that. If I'm an architect and I'm any good, I'd be interested. I don't see what you're doing that's clever here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like the main thing what we're doing is we're automating this whole process. So we basically because we're also starting off, like we have at the moment done a few projects, and we're really automating this process. So we are building up our database and also our scraper, and therefore we provide a solution. So at the moment, we also like doing this in a sort of manual way, but also trying to automate the system in itself. So that's what we're doing.
So right now you're doing it. It sounds like it's totally manual, and you're figuring out what to build, or have you? If you've
no, we build a whole internal system. Like we have a sort of a platform in a way where we can if you have.
Is it called Google?
Yeah, but the thing, if you Google it, you don't find the specific materials, and we have made a whole overview with that, and also a comparison. So we on local materials, we make local materials, reusability, the recyclability of materials, and there we've made a whole comparison of all these materials in our internal database. So that's sort of our innovativeness.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Thanks a lot for the question, Philip. We have a last question from our voice from the audience, Jose Carlos, before we wrap up this marathon of pitches. Jose Carlos.
Yes, so one final question regarding the certification of a product. So do you also include this in the matching criteria?
With certification, like all the products which we are sort of promoting are certified, like for fire, if there's a problem with fire, that's all in the materials. And we're basically not looking at that, because like otherwise the product cannot be sold. All the manufacturers which we provide are like certified in that way. But we are mainly focusing on like sustainability criteria. So we have local materials, and like there we have our whole sets of criteria, and then an architect or engineer can decide where they give the preference for.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Tim, for the presentation and for answering the questions, for coming in this night to present. With that, we have actually reached the end of our first pitching session. I would like to really thank the jury for being with us for over 2 hours now, to listening to all these stories, asking constructive questions. But I think the hardest part for you is still to come, and that's to actually decide who is going to win this Startup of the Year competition that we are organizing. For sure, not an easy task with so many candidates. And we have another pitching session coming up next week. So join us again for another 12 pitches that are scheduled to take place next Tuesday. After that, there will be a bit of a gap for the jury to analyze, to further do their research, to figure out and to discuss. And we will announce the winner of the overall contest on the 28th of July. So then we will know who will be the Startup of the Year of the EIT Digital Alumni. I would also like to thank all of you for sticking with us through the call, for listening to all these pitches, and to be an engaging audience that asks some questions every once in a while. I hope you join us again next week. And for now, take care. Have a great night.
Okay, thank you, Jeroen. Thank you, everybody. It was really nice to hear all the pitches from